The trader you become. Limiting beliefs. The beliefs you didn't choose. Many traders spend years trying to improve their trading. A better strategy, a better setup, more discipline, better psychology. And sometimes those things help, but what if some of the greatest challenges in trading were formed long before you ever placed your first trade? What if the beliefs affecting your trading today did not begin with trading at all? Because every trader enters the market carrying something invisible. Beliefs. Beliefs about money, beliefs about success, beliefs about failure, beliefs about themselves. And many of those beliefs were not consciously chosen. They were slowly formed through experiences, conversations, observations, disappointments, successes, and repetition. Over time, those beliefs can become so familiar that they stop feeling like beliefs. They begin feeling like reality. Chapter 1. When a belief feels like reality. This is one of the most interesting things about beliefs. When we are unaware of them, they don't feel like beliefs. They feel like facts. A trader may think, there are never enough opportunities. Money is hard to make. I always have to struggle. If I fail, something is wrong with me. The trader doesn't see these as beliefs. The trader sees them as reality, and that is what gives them so much power, because we rarely question what appears to be true. Chapter 2. The beliefs beneath the trader. Some beliefs revolve around money. Perhaps money is scarce, money is stressful, money is difficult to keep, success requires sacrifice, there is never enough. Others revolve around ourselves. Perhaps I'm not capable, I'm behind, I'm not good enough, I need to prove myself, I always mess things up. Others appear directly in trading. I need this trade to work. I have to catch every move. One loss will set me back. Opportunities are rare. None of these beliefs necessarily appear as thoughts every day. Many operate quietly in the background, influencing decisions, influencing emotions, influencing behavior, without us even realizing it. Chapter 3. Why these beliefs are so difficult to change. Many people become frustrated when they discover a limiting belief. They want to remove it immediately, replace it, delete it, move on. But perhaps it isn't that simple. Imagine carrying a belief for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. A belief repeated thousands of times. A belief reinforced through experiences, through memories, through conversations, through life itself. And of course, it doesn't disappear overnight. And perhaps it shouldn't be surprising that it doesn't. The goal may not be to instantly remove the belief. The goal may be to understand it. Chapter 4. Awareness. The first step is awareness. Before awareness, a belief feels like reality. After awareness, something changes. Instead of, money is scarce, we begin noticing, I seem to have a scarcity belief around money. Instead of, I always fail, we begin noticing, there is a belief inside me that expects failure. This may seem like a small difference, but it changes everything, because now we are observing the belief, rather than unconsciously living inside it. Chapter 5. Questioning. Then something interesting happens. Before awareness, the belief often feels like reality. We don't question it. We simply assume it is true. But once the belief becomes visible, we begin asking different questions. Do I always have to struggle? Is money always scarce? Am I really behind? Is my worth really determined by profitability? These questions do not immediately erase the belief, but they begin loosening its grip, because certainty begins to soften, and space begins to appear. Chapter 6. understanding. This is where many people become stuck. They fight the belief, argue with it, judge themselves for having it. But perhaps there is another way, understanding. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" we ask, "Why might this belief have developed?" Perhaps money felt uncertain growing up. Perhaps success was heavily emphasized. Perhaps failure felt painful. Perhaps approval felt important. Perhaps security never felt guaranteed. Over time, the mind learns. It develops ways to protect us, ways to avoid pain, ways to create safety. And eventually, those strategies can become beliefs. Beliefs such as, "I must struggle to succeed. I have to prove myself. There is never enough. I can't trust myself." At one point, those beliefs may have served a purpose. They may have helped us navigate uncertainty, avoid disappointment, stay vigilant, stay prepared. In that sense, they were not flaws. They were adaptations, survival strategies. The challenge is that a strategy that once protected us can continue operating long after it is needed. And what once helped us survive can eventually begin limiting how we live. Now, compassion enters the conversation because instead of seeing a broken part of ourselves, we begin seeing a part of ourselves that was simply trying to help. A strategy that may no longer be serving us, but a strategy nonetheless. Chapter 7. New experiences. Many people try to change beliefs through thinking alone, but beliefs often change through experience. Imagine a trader who believes, "I can't trust myself." The trader begins following their plan, keeping promises to themselves, managing risk properly day after day, week after week, month after month. Eventually, reality begins challenging the belief. The evidence starts changing, and the belief slowly becomes harder to maintain, not because the trader forced it to disappear, but because reality started telling a different story. The trader begins seeing something that wasn't visible before. Small promises kept, small acts of discipline, small moments of courage. Day after day, week after week, the trader starts building evidence. Evidence that perhaps they can trust themselves. Evidence that perhaps they are more capable than they once believed. Evidence that perhaps the old story is no longer the whole story. And slowly, the belief begins loosening its grip, not through force, but through experience. Chapter 8. Less identification. Perhaps this is the deepest stage. The belief may still appear. The thought may still arise. The fear may still visit. But something is different. Instead of, "I am not enough," it becomes, "I notice a part of me believes I'm not enough." Instead of, "Money is scarce," it becomes, "I notice a scarcity story appearing." The belief is no longer the entire truth. It becomes one voice among many. And in that space, the belief begins losing some of its power. Perhaps this is where many people misunderstand growth. They assume growth means the fear disappears, the doubt disappears, the limiting belief disappears. But what if growth sometimes looks different? What if growth is not the absence of fear, but a different relationship with fear? Not the absence of doubt, but a different relationship with doubt. Not the absence of a limiting belief, but a different relationship with the belief. The thought may still appear. The old story may still visit. The familiar fear may still knock on the door. But it no longer gets the final vote. It no longer automatically determines our decisions. It no longer defines what is possible. And perhaps that is already a meaningful form of freedom. Not because the belief disappeared, but because its influence became smaller. Perhaps real change does not happen the way we imagine. Not through force, not through fighting ourselves, not through trying to become a completely different person, what can happen is something more realistic. Awareness, understanding, compassion, acceptance, less resistance, and that alone can be transformative. Because when we stop fighting ourselves, we create space. Space to learn, space to grow, space to evolve, not through self-rejection, but through understanding. Final thoughts. Perhaps the goal is not to eliminate every limiting belief. Perhaps the goal is not to become perfectly confident. Perhaps the goal is not to remove every fear. Perhaps the goal is something simpler. Perhaps the goal is to stop letting every belief determine your future, to become aware of the stories we have been carrying, to understand them, to question them, to stop automatically obeying them. The old story may still appear, but now you have a choice. You can listen to it, or simply notice it, and continue moving forward. And over time, its influence begins to weaken. Because when a belief is seen, understood, and no longer treated as absolute truth, it begins to lose its power. If this video resonated with you, perhaps share it with someone else walking a similar path. And if you'd like more conversations about trading psychology, mindset, and personal growth through trading, you can subscribe and continue the journey. Because trading is not only a journey of learning the markets, it's also a journey of understanding the beliefs we bring into them.